The story begins with a glimpse into the peaceful life of a small, happy family. Craig, a dedicated doctor, and his wife Elise, a real estate agent, manage their busy lives while caring for their 6-year-old son, Benjamin. With their work schedules constantly clashing, they take turns looking after their beloved boy. On this particular morning, it's Craig's turn. After Elise heads to work, Craig decides to play catch with Benjamin in their yard. As the sun grows hotter, Craig steps inside to fetch sunscreen for Benjamin. But while he's searching through Elise's cluttered drawer, completely unaware, a man in a parked car nearby watches Benjamin intently. Seizing the moment, the man slowly moves his car closer. By the time Craig returns outside, the unthinkable has happened. Benjamin is gone. Panicked and frantic, Craig rushes to his car and begins chasing after the kidnapper. But just as he's about to call the police, he realizes he left his phone inside. With no way to call for help, Craig continues the pursuit on his own, hoping to spot the car again. Unfortunately, he loses the vehicle on an overpass. Desperate, he begins stopping passing cars, begging to use a phone. Back at home, Elise returns from work only to find their house surrounded by police and reporters. Confused and alarmed, she rushes inside. The look on Craig's face tells her something is terribly wrong. A detective gently asks her to sit down and informs her that their son has been kidnapped. Elise breaks down, screaming in horror, demanding to know where Benjamin is. Hours pass, and there's still no word from the kidnapper. No ransom call. Nothing. Elise begins to fear that the motive isn't money. What if this was done by someone who enjoys inflicting pain? A psychopath? Meanwhile, little Benjamin is trapped in a cold, dark basement, crying out for his parents. His cries irritate the man holding him, John Kozlowski. Frustrated by the noise, John enters the room, prepared to kill the boy. But before he can act, 2 police officers, Patterson and Alvarez, arrive at his door. Neighbors had reported hearing cries coming from his basement. John tries to brush them off, claiming he's just depressed and lives alone. But Alvarez isn't convinced. He spots children's clothing inside and becomes suspicious. When they ask to search the house, John refuses and demands a warrant. The officers return with one and begin a room-by-room search. In the basement, they find nothing but dirty old furniture, until they open another room. What they find shocks them: Benjamin's lifeless body, surrounded by bloodied tools. Back at home, the phone rings. Elise answers, only to collapse as the words sink in: her son is dead. At the hospital, she and Craig pray that maybe it isn't Benjamin, but those hopes are crushed when the truth is confirmed. Their world, once filled with love and laughter, is now shattered. In the days that follow, Craig and Elise push for justice. But in court, the sentence leaves them devastated. John receives only 25 years in prison. Elise is enraged. She begs Craig to help her get a gun. Craig hesitates, saying that killing the man won't bring Benjamin back. But Elise insists they owe it to their son to do something. As time passes, their relationship deteriorates. They fight constantly, blaming each other, drowning in grief. Eventually, Elise leaves to clear her mind. Left alone, Craig sinks into despair. He even attempts to end his own life, but a photo of Benjamin stops him. In that moment, he remembers the joy their little family once shared. And something inside him changes. He doesn't want to die. He wants revenge. Craig goes to Elise with a plan, not a quick death for John, but a slow, painful reckoning. They decide to act. Craig returns to his hospital and sneaks into an unlocked ambulance, stealing a small bag of medicine. The next day, John is scheduled to be transferred to a maximum security prison. Craig and Elise, on the other hand, are secretly following John, who is being escorted by the police. They trail the vehicle from a distance, preparing to execute their plan. During the transfer to a new prison, the police van makes a stop at a gas station. One of the officers steps into a convenience store to buy coffee. Elise enters the store shortly after, and their plan begins. Craig joins her and causes a distraction at the cashier to divert attention. The transport resumes, and they continue tailing the van, waiting for the drug they slipped to take effect. Craig, a doctor, is confident the officers will soon suffer from the side effects. And just as expected, within 30 minutes, the van halts in the middle of the road. The officers exit in distress, clutching their stomachs. Craig seizes the moment, jumps into the van, and drives off with the prisoner, while Elise follows in their car. Speeding along a forested road, Craig accidentally hits a deer. The crash injures him slightly, but they soon notice the prisoner, John Kozlowski, unconscious and covered in blood. They transport him to a remote plantation house. There, they tie him to a table, still in handcuffs. As John regains consciousness, Craig informs him he will be given a drug, the same one he had prepared earlier. This drug will keep John conscious for weeks, ensuring he can't escape the pain. The next morning, while cleaning blood from the car, Elise receives a call from Detective Berger, who says John has escaped after a transport accident. Elise feigns shock. The detective blames police negligence. That night, Craig, haunted by memories of his son Benjamin, vents his grief by burning John with a cigarette. The next day, Craig cauterizes the wounds, causing John even more pain. Elise begins to feel guilty, but Craig insists their actions don't compare to what was done to their child. He then injects John with a substance that induces full-body cramps. While torturing John again in the basement, they hear footsteps above. A local man and his dog have wandered in. Elise claims to be a real estate agent showing the house, and Craig pretends to be a buyer. The man believes them and leaves. Meanwhile, the police locate the abandoned transport vehicle. Detective Berger heads to the scene. Back at the house, John claims he remembers nothing, not even who he is. Craig and Elise begin to doubt whether they have the right man. Elise suspects he's lying, so they torture him further, trying to force him to say their son's name. That night, John escapes his restraints and heads upstairs. Elise, in the bathroom, hears the door creak open. Panicking, she grabs an iron pipe and knocks John out. They drag him back to the basement. But John revives, fights Craig, and escapes the house. Police searching nearby finally catch him. It is revealed that the man is indeed John Kozlowski, sentenced to 25 years for child murder. However, it's also revealed that another convict, Patrick Galligan, sentenced for fraud and tax evasion, was in the van too. It was Patrick, not John, who was tortured by Craig and Elise. The real John had escaped much earlier. Patrick, overwhelmed by the pain, hangs himself. In his note, he confesses his guilt and says he understands why they did what they did, but couldn't bear the torture any longer. Craig and Elise are devastated by the realization they tortured the wrong man. Their revenge was tragically misplaced.